I'd love to start by asking you what your dream was when you were a kid.
Wow. Okay, I wasn't expecting that. I actually started off, I was a farmer's son. So from the very early life, I was kind of besotted by working on the farm and working with animals and tractors and all the rest of it. So I never thought I'd eventually move into banking and then into technology. I always thought I was going to be following my parents' footsteps and be a farmer. So,
and who did you become now?
So that's a really good question, because when we look at people that work here at RocketSpace, we talk to them they're all kind of on, I think the average career now is about 18 months, and then people move to their new thing. I think for my generation, I would say it's probably about 6 years. I always look at, I'll do this company for 6 years, or I'll join that, do that project for 6 years, but it definitely seems to be getting shorter and shorter. So at the moment, I'm running RocketSpace, this technology accelerator, and it's actually, I think I've really found my passion with this business, because I think there's a number of things that have come together to make this significant and to make it really exciting. So yeah, running.
So how are you using your passion and doing what you love to create a social impact in the world?
First of all, the most important thing is it's a technology world, and this is something that's kind of very core to us, is that we've come into the information age, and it doesn't matter what industry you're in, whether it's agriculture or retail or travel or automotive, technology is playing an ever-increasing part of that world. So the people who work in technology and can then, technology is a horizontal across all those industries, are making a big impact. The second thing is, having started a couple of companies myself, I came to this conclusion that young companies are like young people. They are a product of their environment. So our thing here at RocketSpace is really to try and, on that same principle that young companies are a product of their environment, how do we create the most amazing environment for these companies, either to be hugely successful or to fail fast, and get that mindset.
So I'd like to ask you, Tim Draper said all entrepreneurs are social because they all make the world a better place. Do you agree with that? And I think, of course, you have to draw a line, because some are more social than others. So
the good thing about entrepreneurs is they are the easiest way to have a successful business is to provide something that is really valuable to some part of the community or society or business or so forth. So you are really driven on a day-to-day basis. You can't sell something that doesn't have value. So you are really driven to find that and to work on that. And I think history will show that the generation, the XY generation, who are coming through now, I think are a lot more socially responsible than the two previous generations. And I don't know why that is. I think capitalism had a really kind of big push, over the last 40 years, and now we're seeing people going, well, it's not all just about money. It is about the world we live in and the world we have, and we certainly see that with companies that are coming through RocketSpace now, and also the way people behave. Younger generation are far more conscious about using collaborative consumption or something like that. They don't want to own a car; they just want to use a car. Or they have a better view, I think, for the longevity.
But what are the companies that really change the world? So is it the startups that allow people to share pictures, or the ones that are building water wells in Africa? Where exactly is the difference, and how are the technology applications that we have nowadays helping the world become a better place, and what kind of impact could they have?
Yeah, I think there are definitely companies who start off with a, improve the world focus. So whether it's better ways to desalinate water or detect measles or whatever, and they are focused on emerging markets and so forth. And I think those are obvious, kind of they're going out there with a specific task to solve a specific challenge. I think when you look at other products, it's maybe not as obvious of their social good. And I'd take Twitter, which where's the value in sending just a tweet here or a tweet there? But actually, Twitter's changing is giving a voice, is giving that one-to-many ecosystem to everyone. Whereas in the past, maybe it was just politicians who could get on the radio or get on TV and give their opinion. Well, now everyone can give their opinion, and if people think that's valuable, they can follow you and so forth. And I think it's devaluing, it's taking away the entitlement of a few and giving it to everyone. And I think that's a really good thing. So sometimes it's not as obvious as solving it.
That's a great example. Absolutely. Have you ever fallen in love with a social project, and would you invest in one?
So what The Last Mile is doing is basically 70% of people who go to prison in America, when they get out of prison, 70% will end up going back into prison. So once you're in that kind of cycle, it's a loop, and it's really hard to get out of it. And what The Last Mile is doing is saying, how do we break that cycle? How can we really affect change that when people come out of prison, we pull them away from that environment? What we've been doing at The Last Mile is we're working with long-term inmates. So a lot of these people went into prison before the internet even existed. They've been in there for 18, 20 years. And we start, once they get to a point in their term that it looks like they could get out within a year or two, we start to work with them to bring them up to speed on what the internet is and how to put business plans together. We work on their confidence, we work on all sorts of things to give them a purpose and to teach them some skills. And then when they're released, we secure that first 90-day period. So we make sure they have work, a job to come out into, and that's the most important thing. We go in, we meet, we spend a lot of time with the men. We're just about to start a program for women. It's called The Last Mile St. Quentin. But while we're in the prison, the men have to come up with a business idea. They have to then practice, put the whole idea together with the presentation, and then they practice the pitching of it. And then every couple of months, there's a demo day where they present their idea, their business idea to 100 people. This has been running out of St. Quentin, but now it's expanding to other prisons because the success of it. And we'll have one or two of the men coming to work here at RocketSpace and try and help them. And they're amazing people. I mean, they're so talented, and it really makes you feel, when you hear their stories about how they got into prison and the environment that they're in. I would actually say if I was born into their environment, I would have probably ended up, in the same way. Another thing, which we've got a couple of companies in here in this area, is around crowdfunding. And I love the crowdfunding idea because, again, it's a bit like Twitter. It just removes this kind of, you have to be in the valley and you have to get to VCs. People. Yeah, it just empowers everyone to say, well, I don't care what you, Mr. VC, have as your criteria. If I want to do this, I can do this, and you can't stop me. And I think crowdfunding is going to become incredibly important. It's growing, and I think crowdfunding projects that have social good, and a real standing for will be the ones that do that.
What do you think the future is about? Social and profit or non-profits? And why?
I think it's important that companies do try to be profitable. I think it drives discipline. I think it drives cost control and so forth. And one of the things I get concerned about charities and non-profits is they become very inefficient in the way they process things. So if you're not focused at driving an end profit, then you just let costs, because you're not focused on that, your costs can run until you're actually becoming so inefficient that for every dollar that's donated or every dollar you work, you waste 50 cents of it, and only 50 cents of it makes it to the end goal.
One last question. If there's something you could change in the whole world, what would it be?
Oh, I got asked this or a very similar question to this recently, speaking in Chicago, and I'm going to give the same answer because it's just, and the answer is politics, and especially in America, but I think the world over, we've all bought into this system that we need political ruling. We need politicians to run our countries. We've all bought into that, but I don't think we've set the standards particularly well, and I don't think we've set the measurement particularly well. And I see, whether it's just because we've gone through the financial crisis or whether it's because where we are with America, but and you look at the gun lobby things and things that just don't seem to happen. And to me, politics is broken the world over. I don't think the model's right.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.